Let me show you something that makes no sense in personal finance. Two people work for 30 years. One earns $150,000 a year. The other earns $70,000. And somehow, the person making less than half the income retires with $745,000 more wealth. That shouldn't be possible, but it happens all the time. Because the variable that determines whether someone becomes wealthy is not their income. It's a number most people never track, most employers never talk about. And once you understand it, you will never look at money the same way again. It's called your savings rate. And today, I'm going to show you why this one number quietly determines your entire financial future. And later in the video, I'm going to show you how a $200 monthly decision can quietly cost someone over $360,000. My name is Cole, the Money Professor. On this channel, we talk about building wealth, financial independence, and how money actually works. If you're someone who wants to master your finances, hit subscribe and give this video a like if it helps you out. Now look, the title of this video is a little provocative. Income does matter. I'm not going to pretend earning more money is bad, but income by itself is one of the most overrated variables in building wealth. Because what actually determines your financial future is your savings rate. And by the end of this video, you'll understand it better than 95% of people. We'll cover the math, the psychology, and exactly what to do about it. Let's start with the core concept. Most people measure financial progress by income. I make $80,000. I just crossed 6 figures, and that feels good. Income is simple. Your employer tells it to you. The government taxes it. But income is just an input. What actually determines your financial future is how much of that income you keep and invest. That's your savings rate. The formula is simple. Take the amount you save and invest each month. Divide it by your take-home income, multiply by 100. That's your number. But here's the part most people miss. Your savings rate doesn't just determine how fast you build wealth. It determines two things at the same time. And that's what makes it incredibly powerful. Let me show you. Imagine you earn $80,000 per year. If you save 10%, you're saving $8,000 annually. That means you're spending $72,000 a year. Now, there's a widely cited rule in retirement research called the 4% rule, which came from the Trinity study. The idea is simple. To support your lifestyle in retirement, you need about 25 times your annual expenses invested. So if you're spending $72,000 per year, your financial independence number is about $1.8 million. But now, change one variable. Instead of saving 10%, you save 30%. Now you're saving $24,000 per year and spending $56,000. Your financial independence number just dropped to about $1.4 million. Think about what just happened. By increasing your savings rate, you're saving 3 times more money and you need $400,000 less to retire. Savings rate attacks the problem from both directions at the same time. You're pushing your investments up while pulling your target down. Very few financial decisions do both. But this gets even more interesting when you run the actual math. Let me show you a chart that completely changed how I think about money. When people first see this, they usually assume it's wrong because the differences are so extreme. So here's a quick challenge. If someone saves 10% of their income, how long do you think it takes to reach financial independence? Just guess. 25 years? 30? Maybe 35? The real number is 51 years. That means if you start at 22, you're working until 73. But watch what happens when we change just one variable. At 20% savings, it's about 37 years. At 30% savings, it's 28 years. And at 50% savings rate, financial independence can happen in about 17 years. Same income. Completely different life. The only thing that changed was the savings rate. So if the math is this clear, why don't more people do it? Because of something called lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is simple. As income rises, spending rises right alongside it. Every raise gets absorbed. Better apartment, better car, better vacations, better restaurants. And because everyone around you is doing the same thing, it feels normal. But there's a psychological concept called hedonic adaptation. Humans adapt quickly to improvements. That nicer apartment that felt amazing in month 1, by month 6, it's just where you live. The excitement fades, but the higher rent payment doesn't. And the data on this is brutal. Even among high earners, savings rates barely increase as income rises. People don't upgrade their savings rate. They upgrade their lifestyle expectations. And if you're thinking this only applies to normal incomes, consider what happened to NFL players. These are people who earned more in a single season than most Americans make in a decade. Researchers who studied their financial outcomes found something that should stop you cold. Within 12 years of retirement, roughly 16% had filed for bankruptcy. And that's just the documented cases. Broader reporting suggests the financial damage ran much deeper. Wealth gone within a few years of leaving the game. The NFL now runs mandatory financial literacy programs for incoming players. Think about that. The league felt the problem was serious enough that it needed to be addressed before players ever cashed their first professional paycheck. This wasn't about irresponsibility, it was about savings rate, a spending structure that consumed everything, regardless of income level. Because if your savings rate is 0, your income doesn't matter. It's like pouring water into a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You can pour faster, but it will never fill. Let me show you the example from the beginning. Person A earns $150,000 per year. Great income. But lifestyle inflation kicks in. Nice condo, nice car, frequent travel. They save 10% of their income. That's $15,000 invested per year. Now meet person B. Person B earns $70,000 per year, less than half the income. But person B saves 30%. That's $21,000 invested every year. Both invest for 30 years at 8%. Who wins? Person A ends with about $1.86 million. Person B ends with about $2.6 million. The lower income earner finishes with $745,000 more wealth. And it gets even more interesting. Person A built a lifestyle that requires more money to sustain. Person B built a lifestyle that costs less. Person A has a bigger target and a slower vehicle. Person B has a smaller target and a faster vehicle. The outcome isn't even close. Now remember that $200 decision I mentioned earlier. Imagine a lifestyle upgrade that costs $200 per month. Maybe it's a nicer apartment. Maybe it's a car upgrade. Maybe it's just spending creep. Now, instead of spending that $200, you invest it. At 8% for 30 years, that grows to about $298,000, almost $300,000. But remember the second effect. Because your expenses are $200 lower, your financial independence target is $60,000 smaller. So the real swing is closer to $360,000. From one spending decision, multiply that across multiple lifestyle upgrades, and you start to understand why people feel like they're working forever. Here's what this actually feels like in real life. You get a raise, real money, maybe $10,000 more a year, and for about 2 weeks, you feel it. You think about what you could do with it. And then, almost automatically, the spending expands to meet it. A better apartment, nicer car, the gym membership you actually use for a month, 6 months later, you're making more money than you ever have. And somehow, you still feel behind. That feeling, that quiet, persistent feeling of running in place is not a motivation problem. It's a savings rate problem. And it has a solution. So what do you actually do right now, today, with this information? 4 steps. And I want to be honest. Step 2 is the one most people skip, and it's the one that matters most. First, calculate your actual savings rate. And don't estimate, actually look it up. Add every dollar you invested or saved last month, divide by your take-home pay, multiply by 100. Write that number down. Most people have never done this, and the number is usually lower than they expect. Second, set a specific target, not a range, a number. Write down, my savings rate target is X%. If you're starting from 0 or close to it, 10% is a real and meaningful start. 20% is where compounding starts to feel real. 30% is where your financial life genuinely begins to accelerate. Pick a number you can hit within 90 days, not a fantasy. Third, implement the 50-50 raise rule. Here's how it works. Say you get a $6,000 raise. $3,000 goes to lifestyle, a nicer dinner out, a weekend trip, whatever genuinely improves your day-to-day. The other $3,000 goes straight into investments before it ever touches your checking account. You feel the raise, your savings rate still climbs, and because you set it up in advance, you never have to fight yourself in the moment. The decision is already made. Fourth, fight for the big 3, not the small ones. Housing, transportation, and food make up more than 60% of most people's spending. A $300 per month reduction in any one of those categories outperforms years of skipping lattes. This doesn't mean suffering. It means being intentional about the decisions that actually move the number. Getting a roommate, negotiating rent, driving a car 1 year longer than planned. These are the decisions with real leverage. Most people believe wealth comes from earning more, but the truth is simpler. Wealth comes from keeping more of what you earn. Income builds the engine. Savings rate controls the throttle. And the moment you take control of that throttle, everything changes. Not gradually, not eventually. The math shifts the day you decide it does. Now I want you to do something. Pause the video, calculate your savings rate, and come back and tell me in the comments, where are you today and what's your target? Hit like if this helped you. Subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And I'll see you in the next video. I'm Cole. This is the Money Professor.